Hello, everyone, and welcome again to Astropreneur. My name is Liam, and tonight we have a really special guest. Any one of you out in the 3D printing world has probably dealt with this person or this person's company. So our guest tonight is Tim Hoogland from TH3D Studio. Getting tongue-tied. But Tim is actually going to come on and talk a little bit about his business and about how he got started and so on. But before we get on again, invite Tim in here, I want to do a quick self-advertising, okay? So remember, if you have any questions, please feel free to submit the questions in the chat. We will get to them once we do our Q&A with Tim. And so if you have questions, please bring them up. We do have some giveaways at the end, so please stick around until the end. If you would like to donate and support the channel, please, you can do a donation there through PayPal, or if you want to just buy me a quick coffee, you can do that. Now, while you're on our channel, on the channel through Facebook or YouTube, please remember to like, subscribe, click the update, click the thumbs up, whatever it is, because all of that helps promote the channel and helps. I'm available on both Facebook, I'm on YouTube, and you can also find me on Twitter. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring Tim into the conversation. Hey, Tim, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Nice Thursday evening. The weekend is almost here.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't change for me. I work weekends.
Well, you own your own business, right? So when you own your own business,
it never stops.
Yeah, it never ends. Well, I work out of home, and I do a lot of global stuff, so it never really ends for me either, right? I'm often working the weekend. I'm often working Saturdays. I don't work full days Saturdays and Sundays, but I put in time. So I'm sure you do.
Oh yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's let everyone get to know you a little bit more, because we all see you on streams. We've heard about you. We've heard about your company. Let's learn a little bit about who Tim is.
Well, Tim is a man of many hobbies that he starts, and some of them become serious, like 3D printing, and others fizzle out. My background, my longest running hobby is got to be computers and electronics. I started with that kind of stuff when I was really young, like teenager. And then everything kind of spun off of that. So you can see how 3D printers kind of parlayed into that. It's about it. I'm a bit of a nerd. I'm more of like the computer nerd. I'm not like the Star Trek, Dungeons and Dragons,
we'll never be friends. Nerds. I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons guy, but if you're not a Trekkie, I'm sorry, we can't be friends.
No, I'm not. I'm not Star Trek or Star Wars. I mean, I've watched a few of the movies, but I feel like there's a connotation where when people think that you're a nerd, that you must like one of the Star whatevers. Or like, Lord of the Rings, or insert any, stereotypical nerd thing. I don't know if there's like a term for that, but I'm definitely more of a technology kind of, oriented nerd. If I had to put a label on it.
So you're like me. When we were young, you take stuff apart, have spare parts left over, and it still worked when you were done.
The worst part was when I did, because, I did a lot of computer work and repairs, from, desktops to laptops all the way. I've worked with everything from, end user computers all the way up to large server implementations. But the worst thing was taking a laptop apart, and then you get it back together and there's like 3 screws left over, and you're like, well, I hope those weren't important. So I can't tell you how many times that had happened to me,
Same for me. I used to always do that. I'd take apart a radio or something like that when I was a kid, and I'd put it back together, and there'd be pieces left over. It still worked, so no harm, no foul, right?
Yeah. So, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so you're an IT, you were kind of touching the moments ago. You're an IT guy. That's what your background is, right? What got you from having like an IT business and going into 3D printing? Like, how did you make the transition into 3D printing?
So I originally bought a 3D printer, and my first one that I bought was an ANET A8. And I bought it. Well, I used to say that, but it wasn't a bad thing. and I'll touch on that in a sec here. But the reason I bought it was because I was always tinkering around with, Arduino Unos, Megas, like little development boards, because those were really starting to take off. And I really enjoyed electronics. I was like, man, these are awesome. I got a board with inputs and outputs, a USB interface, and then, eventually Wi-Fi and network interfaces. Except I was like building these little projects and putting them in like Chinese food containers and hot gluing the boards in there, and I was like, this 3D printing thing seems like it'd be a great fit to build enclosures for my projects. So that's why I picked one up. That was the original thing. And the reason I don't regret buying an ANET was because it forced me, and even with the printers that are out these days, they have gotten a lot easier. But it forced me to learn the machine, learn how they worked, learn how to fix them, and learn about them, because that printer had so many issues. I had to learn about it, how it worked. And I'm just somebody that likes knowing how things work. I will take apart stuff that's perfectly working because I just want to see what's inside and what makes it tick. So that's what I started out doing is, I just wanted to make plastic boxes to, put my project in, and that was it. And then I soon discovered, and just kind of realized, like, man, the printer itself for me ended up becoming the hobby. So I ended up having two hobbies. I still was doing electronics projects. But the first thing I actually printed a case for was an Arduino Uno, a network connected Arduino Uno garage door opener. So I could open and close my garage door from, my phone through my web browser.
Yep.
So, but then I found I really liked messing with the printers. I really liked, messing around with them and upgrading them and modifying them. And, it was just, and I'm still like, I still will sit here and I'll still watch printers just print. It's been, I've been doing this since, late 2016. I still will watch prints go. It's fascinating. They're very simple devices at their core, but it's just something about taking, a string of plastic and turning it into a thing. Yeah. It's very satisfying.
Spring is in saying hi to both of us, by the way, from G-Tech. So we have G-Tech representatives in the stream tonight.
Oh, is that Spring?
Yeah. She's saying hi to us.
Oh, hello.
Hey, Spring, how are you?
I think I still have a few of your guys' machines here somewhere.
So, question: you had IT company. What made you make this? First of all, you offered up one part on your website, which is a 3D printing part, and then you went from that to having staff, building out a whole infrastructure, and being very well known in the 3D printing community. What made you jump from leap from IT into creating a business in 3D printing? So,
and there's actually, if you guys want to read a lot more details about the company and start, there's a news post on our website, which is th3dstudio.com. It's our 1 year anniversary update. And the whole reason the company got started, and I didn't set out to start a company. I just joined the communities because I was having a good time with the printers. I spent a lot of time in there just, as I learned and started learning how to do things, helping other people out. And then what happened was I had bought a Creality CR10 that, I joined the ANET communities, made a lot of friends there. And I still have guys that I've known for over 3 years. I've never met in person, but I met them through there and we're still friends. We still talk to this day, even though we're not in those communities anymore.
Yeah. Just want to say hi to Heidi. You know Heidi Young from Soval. So we have Heidi in joining us as well tonight. Hey, Heidi, how are you?
That's neat that they're watching it. It's cool.
Yeah.
But so anyways, so I had got a CR10, I got on board, like I saw one, a guy had one and it just came out and a guy had got his hands on one. He had it at the Midwest Rep Fest back in 2017. And he was showing me it and he was telling me about it. He's like, yeah, I bought this. I got it from this guy in Texas. I'll give them a shout out. Tiny Machines 3D. You guys probably heard of them too.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was like, man, that's like, I think it was like $350 or $400. And I was like, the build volume for the price was like, that's unheard of, you know, and it was decent quality. You know, it was like one of the first, you know, mass produced V-slot roller type machines, and it was just starting to get, you know, take off. And I had at that point had two printers. I bought the ANET, and then I bought what I, you know, referred to as the mini ANET A8, which was actually made by Tronxy, and it was rebranded by iMaker. It was called the Start. So I had two printers. I had a tiny one, which was a Start, and I had an ANET A8, and I was like, man, that'd be nice to print big stuff. So I bought a CR10. I got it, and the second day I had it, I ended up replacing all the electronics on it, replacing the power supply, replacing the main board, getting rid of the control box, and it's actually still set. I still have it. It's bolted to a piece of melamine. I mounted all the electronics on there to make it like an all-in-one unit. Before anybody was even doing any of that stuff with the CR10s, you know, I was like, I don't like the control box. So, but I wanted bed leveling on it, and I already had put a bed leveling sensor or a proximity sensor on to my other two machines. So I'm, you know, made another circuit board on perf board with the, you know, the components and the opto isolation IC and everything.
Yep.
And I put on my CR10. So I got everything, you know, just built the printer, upgraded the crap out of it, you know, right after I got it, like literally the next day, I just had my way with it. And I did this, I had a volcano nozzle on there. So I did a nice big vase at like a 0.4 layer height. It came out gorgeous. So I had, and I did it in like a clear purple filament. And those of you guys that have been around for a while, you guys might remember Maker Geeks.
Yep.
They were actually good at one point. And I did in like this translucent purple, and it looked gorgeous. And it was a print I did for my mom. And I posted a picture of that print on the printer bed still. And, you know, you could see the sensor on the print head and everything. And, you know, there were a couple people like, oh, it's a cool print. And there were other people that are going like, hey, how do I get one of those on my printer? I was like, well, you just do this, this, and this, and this, and that. And they're like, yeah, I don't know how to solder. I don't know how to do the firmware. Could you just make me one? And I was like, I guess. So
the easy button.
Yeah. So I started piecing together these kits literally on perf board. I made like probably a dozen of them, and I sent them out to everybody, helped everybody get their firmware set up. You know, I was just doing it. I was like, okay, I mean, if you're willing to give me a couple bucks, like, cool, I'll make, you know, a couple extra bucks. I can buy some filament and, you know, cool.
Yep.
So, but then those guys got it and they were like, this is amazing. And they started telling other people about it and they started posting about it. So then everybody was hitting me up. I was like, okay, so I can't keep soldering perf boards. So I had never designed a circuit board in my life. I always did everything on perf board, you know, cause it's just little projects for myself. So I didn't really, you know, I didn't really care about like having an actual printed circuit board. So I learned how to do how to design a circuit board, sent them off, had them manufactured, and did, you know, a couple runs of 100 a couple times, and they kept selling out. So like, that's what ended up being on my website. I already had a personal website for my IT stuff. It was WordPress. So I put WooCommerce on it. I was like, okay, I'll just process stuff through there. And it just was like for months, like I would make 100 kits, they'd sell out in a day, make 100 kits, you know, a couple weeks later, they'd sell out in a day, you know, and, you know, at a certain point I had, you know, friends coming over to help me solder all these boards. You know, I think at our peak, when we were still hand making, like we did through hole for about 2 years on them. And we were hand soldering 600 kits a month.
Wow. That's a lot of work.
So, you know, I had two guys here at one point that all they did was solder. That's all they did every single day was solder. You know, but now we have 160 plus products, you know, and we've officially been around for 3 years as like the TH3D name. So once I saw it picking up traction, I thought it was just like, okay, you know, people are going to get a bunch and that'll be it. There won't be any, you know, I'll hit saturation and, you know, it's not going to, you know, it'll just be, people are, you know, hyped up about it and then it'll just fade out, except it didn't. It kept taking up more and more time. So I was like, well, I can't keep replying to emails through just my email box. So I set up a Freshdesk at first for my ticket system. So I had a ticket system, you know, and I'd be replying to emails, you know, I'd, you know, if I had time at work between tasks, I'd, you know, reply to a couple people, you know, and then eventually I bought a label printer, like an actual proper thermal label printer, and just started doing things incrementally. And I had to scale up as it was happening. And then on top of that, while the company was starting, we were also planning our wedding.
Oh, fun.
So it was a lot of work at the same time. Like I would work, 40 hours, 50 hours at the day job doing, when I was an IT manager, and then come home and work another, 30, 40 hours. So I was like running on like no sleep. I still am running on like, I got 4 hours of sleep last night. So, and after I'm off here, I have to spend another 3 hours doing inventory tasks. So it's never ending, but
yeah,
that's how it got started. Like I posted that picture of the probe or the printer. I wasn't trying to show the probe off or anything, or that I had it on there. I was just like, hey, look at my first print after I got everything set up. And I was like, cool, this came out awesome, and that's how it started. And, I started seeing all these like gaps in the market especially with like a lot of the Chinese, parts you get, where it's a very hit and miss. And I was trying to get little things here and there and be like, okay, well, I think I can, if I get the stuff in and I make sure it's, all checked and everything, people can get the stuff that, you're getting. I can't tell you how many times I'd order like a hot end off Express and it'd say it was all metal, but I get it, it was PTFE lined, or I get it and it's just not machined correctly, or the parts don't fit together well. So that's what it was. The ABL kits came out of community, demand, going, hey, Tim, I want one of these. So I was like, okay. So I was like, I can't tell you how many boards I would come home, sit down at my desk, and have my soldering iron out and just going through rolls of solder every week, like just doing everything by hand.
Yeah. Well, you offer way too many products to be doing them by hand anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've had to learn a lot in the last 3 years. It's been a lot, which comes with working a lot. So, but you have to do that, because the reality is, if I just kind of treat it like a, 40-hour week job, then, things would start falling behind. We wouldn't be able to do as much stuff or stay on top of things.
Yeah. Just one reminder to everybody, please click on the thumbs up or like and subscribe. We've only got one thumbs up out of everyone who's watching, so please go click on the thumbs up. It helps promote the channel. So another question for you, Tim. Everybody knows about they buy products from you. They buy Uno boards. They use your firmware. They buy your flex plates and all this kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
What other services beyond components that many people use do you offer as today? Because a lot of people don't realize all the other stuff you offer.
We've got a lot. I mean, like we've got, our Easy ABL bed leveling kits are definitely one of our most popular products. Our Easy board control boards for Creality and Solval printers. Mm-hmm. We carry stuff, everything from fans, power supplies, nozzles, PTFE tubing, PTFE fittings, hot ends, extruders, stepper motors, flex plates, PEI sheets, build surfaces. We have Octoprint kits too for people that just want something to plug in and they don't want to mess around with it. We have fully set up, ready to go Octoprint kits too, and we actually donate a portion of every single kit sold to Gina at Octoprint. And it's a decent amount. It's about $400 to $600 a month, depending on our sales, that we donate to them every single month.
That's cool. But outside of the components, what other services do you offer?
So we do have Print Farm for hire. So if you need something printed, we do have on our contact form where you can upload files, select your material type, or material type, color, infill requirements, that kind of stuff. So that goes to our guys that manage a Print Farm. They'll quote it out. So if you need something printed in ABS, PETG, we've actually been doing a lot of stuff with nylon, carbon fiber reinforced filaments. Haven't gotten into anything higher really than nylon or ABS, but we also do ASA. Pretty much all the major filament types. I do have some people that request TPU prints for like a lot of drone parts and stuff. Mm-hmm. So we do that, and then like on more business to business side of things, which is where I focus some of my attention, because we're trying to get that ramped up. Is we work with a couple of local schools and companies around here where we actually build out printers, so like just the recently we had one of the high schools, they ordered a bunch of Ender 3s and a CR10 V2. We got them in, built them all, fixed it, went over them, make sure everything was, adjusted correctly, installed correctly, put a bunch of our upgrades on it. So basically they were handed a printer that was already ready to go.
Optimized. Yeah.
So, and that's something moving into next year is we want to do is, offer like, hey, I want this printer, but I want I want these other things on it,
customization.
type of thing. Yeah, customization. I would love to do our own machine, and I'm trying to work out some stuff with some other companies. There's a company near us called Project R3D, and they have a machine called the Daedalus. So Joe's the guy who runs that. He's been very busy, but him and I are talking about having like a TH3D version of that we would carry, because I think it's a really good machine.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that, actually, if you are ever planning it. There's a question there for you.
Oh,
he wants to know the puppy's name.
Oh, that's Miss Clara. Clara, are you tired? Do you want a treat? do you want a treat? I think she does. She'll eventually, depending on how long we go, she'll eventually try to crawl my lap. Can we sit? Yeah, you're still booting up? Speak. Yeah? Give me one more. Shake. Lay down. Good girl.
This is cool. Oh, by the way, Jerry from 3D printing and painting, he's my PR guy, so he's
I know Jerry.
Thumbs up.
I've got. Oh, you can't see it because the palette and the rep box are in the way. But there's one of his Star Wars Cantina band member heads that he sent me is on top of my printer back there.
And I have some of his stickers.
I have his stickers on the side of my enclosure over there.
Yeah, I keep them. I have them over my desk. I haven't put them out anywhere yet. I will eventually, but I haven't gotten there yet. Thanks, Jerry. So, like you offer printing, 3D printing for other people and so on who don't have their own printers. But
well, we have a lot of people that have printers that have us print stuff for them too.
Because it's difficult to do certain materials and so on.
Yeah, certain materials or like ABS is a thing we print a lot of. We have 14 enclosed machines here that are just for ABS. That's all they print. We do a lot of ABS prints. We just started doing nylons and stuff, so we finally got all our profiles dialed in and everything. Have that process down so we can actually do nylon. Nylon's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
But we're able to do it now. So, but we have a lot of people that have their own printers that, like, let's say their printer's down, or they just want, a hot end. Like hot end mounts are very common for us to get ABS print requests because some hot end mounts you can get away with PLA. Others you have to have ABS. PETG you can sometimes get away with, but we get a lot of print requests from that. We've got a lot of companies too that will use us as like a contractor to do bulk production. Okay. So right now we're actually quoting out a large part order for a firearm accessory company out of Florida. They make like holsters and stuff and wall mounts. So, but they have their own printers, but they need thousands of the part. They don't want to run a print farm, so they'll contact us, and they found us because they were customers of ours. They bought parts for their machines they have, and they're like, "Hey, saw you guys do this. Can you quote us this out?" We've done some projects with like Lockheed Martin stuff, and there's a couple other companies that are larger, but I actually have NDAs that I signed. Yeah. I can't say anything, but there's a lot of that stuff on the back end. Eventually, like we wanted to offer where you could bring your printer in and we'll fix it, kind of like a repair service. But with all the human malware stuff going on, we've put a pause on that. So
that's Tim's code for COVID.
Yeah.
Human malware.
Yes, I stole that from I think it was Gamers Nexus is the first one I heard.
Okay.
Use that term. He's like Jay's 2 cents, Linus Tech Tips, like all the tech YouTubers. But yeah, I like that term, so that's what I refer to it as. Because then sometimes YouTube's weird; they'll flag it if you use that word.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I try not to use it.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. So, like, you're so into it. Where do you see 3D printing in the next 5 or 10 years?
So a lot of people ask me about this, and I was actually talking about if you guys ever want to hang out with me casually offline, so to speak, not on a stream. I'm usually on our Discord server. We have a TH3D Discord server, and you can go to that by going to discord.th3dstudio.com. I set up a subdomain that redirects to the invite link, so it's easy to remember. But we were actually talking about that. So me and a bunch of other guys, and actually Scott from Marlin, Scott Latine.
Yeah.
From Marlin was in there. We were talking about that, how, like, where do we see FDM going? And I feel like the general consensus is that, like, when it comes to the hardware, like, we see incremental changes, like there's all these different hot ends coming out, but at their core, they pretty much function all the same. There's only so much improvements you can make to a design, that's already good. I personally think that where we will see improvements is on, like the printer firmware side of things. More features to maybe make them more user-friendly, optimize.
We need more 32-bit boards to make that happen, because those 8-bit boards that are still coming out, so some printers are still using, they are really restricting the ability of feature enhancements because you just can't handle it.
Well, you'd be surprised what the 8-bits can do. The 8-bits at your normal print speeds actually are still pretty capable.
Further enhancements, further features, and so on.
Yeah, like memory.
There's a limit how much storage they have.
Yeah, well, but then you get companies like Big Tree Tech that are shipping 32-bit boards with 256K in memory because they don't want to spend an extra 30 cents on a processor to have 512K. I'd like to see everything going towards 32-bit, because the reality is those processors actually are cheaper than the 8-bits. Like a Mega 2560 chip is actually about $1.50 to $2 more per chip than like the STM32 F1 series that most of these companies are using. So it makes sense from even just a cost perspective to make to the shift to 32-bit. But it doesn't matter when you've got 32-bit processors that, the company's trying to just say that they have a 32-bit processor, but then they're going for the bottom of the barrel when it comes to memory size.
Mm-hmm.
You're severely limiting. Like, we, like on our board, we have an NXP processor that is a 32-bit ARM chip, and that has 512K of memory. And that's what I wanted. And we barely even utilize, I think we're utilizing like 100 with all the options turned on. We're like at 170, 180K of memory usage, so we got a lot more headroom on there. Yeah. And then if, eventually we'll do a revision to that board. I want to at least double the memory, just, not that we need it, just so it's there,
make it available so in case feature sets and functionality comes out, you're future-proofing your environment for design.
Because the reality is the processing power, especially even on the lower end ARM chips, like we're so barely scratching the surface with the processing power of those 32 bits. But if you don't have the actual program memory to put all those new features in, you might as well just have an 8-bit board at that point. Like a Mega 2560 has the same amount of memory as the processor Big Tree Tech uses on their SKR E3 boards. Just like put that in perspective. Like they have the same amount of memory. It's a faster processor, but you're going to hit that wall when the new features start coming out. You start turning on more features. You can actually hit that wall and that memory limit on that board pretty quickly with Marlin as it is right now. Mm-hmm. If you're, and that's for more advanced users. For your average user, it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
But I'm all for overkill. I'm all for, let's give them more than they need, because I don't want it to be like, oh, I bought this. Well, now we got more features and I don't have enough memory. No, I'd rather have more future proofing on it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have our customers having to replace their board every, year or two because, what we put out was, didn't have that extra headroom, and
it's better to oversize and allow room for growth. And like you should, like, most hardware lasts about 3 to 5 years. You should be looking at what in the next 3 to 5 years does the hardware allow me to support future functionality. And if the answer is no, then the hardware is insufficient, right?
Yeah.
Like we both of us that came from the IT environment. You don't buy a server and expect to change it next week or a desktop or next year
or next year. Yeah.
Next 5 years, it's supposed to last 5 years, and after 5 years, then you do a refresh, right?
Well, I mean, from a business perspective, it's kind of smart that you got companies like I said, I'm just using the Big Tree Tech one as an example because it's the one everybody knows. Like, oh well, we have this board. Well, next year they can come out with one. It's the same board, just with a different chip with twice the memory. Well, that's not something you replace. So now everybody's buying new boards.
Yeah.
So from a business and revenue perspective, it's great for the company. And
not so user friendly.
Yeah. Well, it also creates waste too. The boards are going to get discarded. Maybe they'll sell them or give them to somebody, but it's waste at that point. And I definitely, there are definitely decisions I made here that have hindered, profit or revenue, but I did it out of the interest of, I don't want to shortchange our customers. Like I would rather us be known for putting out stuff that lasts than trying to, just do something a little bit and, just, make that, and then we'll come out with something new, and everybody's going to want to upgrade to the next latest greatest thing. Printer, like for printer boards, they're not cell phones. You don't need to upgrade all the time. I'd rather have something that lasts a while. And they get a lot of use out of it versus them changing it out every year.
As long as X, Y, Z, and E work and their hot ends heat up, you're able to use it, right?
Yeah.
But with, like, other than memory and chips, like, do you see a future of 3D printing? Like, there's been some experimentation with non-planar 3D printing. There has been some large industry that have been looking at using articulated robotic arms.
Mm-hmm. Like a 5D, like a fifth dimension, like 5D.
Yeah, and there is a company out there, but it's $40,000 or $80,000. I can't remember exactly, but it's some way out of our pocket range type of number, right? So do you see 3D printing going down that road eventually for the end user, or do you think where we are, but rather than updating features and functionality on what we have today, do you see us in the next 5 to 10 years going down that route of non-planar and maybe even going down the route of articulation?
I think articulation's probably like 10 years down the road, just because it's going to take a while for that cost to come down. I mean, I think the next thing we're going to see in 3D printing in general, not just FDM, that's going to start decreasing in cost is, like the sintering types for like metal.
Okay, metal.
And they're already starting to get down there. I can't remember the brand or name of the model, but I know they're out there for around $10,000. I mean, that's within reach for us if we wanted to get it. Yeah. Even for a small business. It's whereas 5-6 years ago, only huge corporations could afford them because they were close to six figures.
And now, as well as this, like where laser used to be, laser like CO2 lasers was $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Today,
$500
or $500 for a K40, right? So,
yeah, I mean, I got my K40 for $200.
Well, you got a great deal then.
I did. That's why I bought it. I had no need for it, but I was like, oh, I can't pass it off for $200. Yeah. But I think though, like, because you got to remember the printers we have right now, all they're doing is executing commands. So I think what we'll see too is people doing more creative things to leverage existing hardware, but doing more complex G-code movements with the slicers. So I think we need to start seeing, and we have been seeing a lot of new slicers coming out. It used to just be like Cura and Simplify 3D, and now there's Cura, Prusa Slicer, Slick 3R, Idea Maker, Pathio, but that was discontinued. But there's a lot of slicers out there now. And I think there's a lot of potential to do stuff. I mean, like Teaching Tech did a video on non-planar printing, and that's with existing hardware we have, and that's all
some good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that comes down to the software, but
there's some hardware involved in that, because your limitation on non-planar is your nozzles, your nozzle shape, right? And the distance that your nozzle has, because now you have a hot end, and immediately below you have your nozzle. So you have very little clearance to do varying surfaces, right?
Right. But I mean, you could retrofit any of these existing machines with a thinner. If someone comes out with a nozzle heat block combo that's thin and doesn't have a huge diameter, you could easily convert any of these machines to it. The electronics won't need to change.
Or change your nozzle and mount your hot end on a rotating pivot.
Yeah.
Then it can move.
But I think one of the things, like moving into this, I don't think we'll ever see, like, maybe not in my lifetime, but I don't think we'll get to a point where 3D printers are going to be as easy as like an inkjet printer.
No.
Like, because I mean, even people have problems. Like your average person has problems using an inkjet printer, when the ink cartridge is low or the toner is not doing, just troubleshooting something as basic as that. And I think because it's good and bad that printing has become more accessible, because it's good that, anybody can, pretty much anybody can afford it. If you got $150, you can buy a printer now. But the downside is too, you have people that are buying these now expecting it to just work, and I don't think that's an unrealistic expectation. It's like the equivalency I would say is, if I go and buy a laptop from Walmart, it's $100 laptop. I'm going to plug that laptop in. It's going to turn on. It's going to be slow, but it'll work. We don't see that really with the cheap printers. There's always something to mess with. Like this printer's a $200 printer. This thing doesn't work correctly out of the box. Like something as basic as layer fan cooling isn't right on this. I literally have parts printed here. I have to fix it, and I use another printer to print these parts, so it's good that it's become more accessible, but I think a lot of people don't know what they're getting themselves into. And,
a lot of people, I see it on the forums all the time. A lot of people ask questions and they think you take it out of the box and they turn it on and it's done. It's not like that. You have a learning curve with it. It's like, when you buy a car, you're not going to, you get into the car, you expect it to drive, fine. But when you run into issues with the car, you either have to learn the mechanics of a car, or you have to find someone who's going to do servicing on it, right? And it needs to be maintained just like a car does. You have to change the oil in it and so on. If you don't do that, you don't put gas into the car, or if it's an electrical car, you don't plug it in and charge it up, you're not going anywhere fast, right? So there is a learning curve involved about basic maintenance and so on that has to go with 3D printing, and it goes with any hobby you take on.
Well, and I would equate it to, like, let's say I bought a table saw, and I got mad because the table saw didn't build me a beautiful looking cabinet.
Take it back.
But it's not the saw's fault that I couldn't build a really nice looking cabinet. It's just like the printer. It's not the printer's fault. Sometimes it is. But assuming the basic functions are working, it's usually not the printer's fault that it doesn't print well. It's usually the operator's fault, And the thing with the printers is not only do you have to learn the software side of things, the slicer and everything, and you usually, until you start getting really into it, you usually have to touch the firmware. Most of the time, the firmware prints out of the box. But you have the mechanical portions of it, the operation of the physical device, and then the software side. So it's a lot for someone to take on, and if they're not somebody that wants to learn how things work, they're just going to go screw it. Like I'm willing to bet. So this is actually an Ender 3 V2 I got from a supplier I deal with. He sells on Amazon. This is the one that was returned and there was no reason for it. I've bought many of these. I've bought dozens of these machines, and half the time I get them, it looks like someone opened the box, said, yeah, screw that, and taped it back up and
putting it together. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
People don't know how to use a screwdriver.
Yeah. So, and that's, and even if you buy a fully assembled machine, let's say I go drop, $3,000 on Ultimaker, it's a tool, it's a machine. It's always going to require maintenance, just like a car, and I've seen people, I'm also someone that does my own maintenance on my cars. I have, my wife and I, we drive our cars into the ground. I've got I have two cars that are mine, and they both have over 150,000 miles on them, but I fix them myself. I drive older cars, I save some money, but I also have people I know that they buy newer cars and they have the dealer do all the work, but there's also not really, which is why I wanted to, after, like I said, the human malware situation put a damper on things, but I wanted to be able to have us be, like we're your mechanic for your printer. There's really not that right now. It's go on the Facebook groups, the forums, Discord servers, Twitter, or whatever, and try to get help from strangers on the internet, and the sad part is, even though the communities are great, a lot of times you have people that are in there that don't know what they're talking about, but people are taking their advice.
The worst advice, the worst advice is advice, and sometimes it's even worse again when it's bad advice.
Yeah. Or they send them off onto you see a guy and it's like, oh, his extruder is not having enough tension because, oh, he's got a Corelli Ender 3, it's a plastic extruder. Oh, the arm's probably cracked. And they're telling him, take apart the hot end, do this all this stuff. It's like, check the simple stuff first.
Or go buy all of this hardware.
Go buy a Slice Engineering Mosquito. That's going to fix all your problems, and then they do it, and then they still have the same issue because it wasn't actually the problem in the first place.
Yeah, it was probably a loose cable or something.
I mean, that's the thing too. Like we, and I've said this before. Like we have, we have sales people, but our sales people are actually our tech support people. So we have our ticketing system, we have our live chat on our site, and we want people to talk to us because if you come to us and you're like, this is what it's doing, I think this is what I need to replace. Like, you can talk to somebody and we will try to get you the right information. and even if there's products we don't carry, we know the other vendors that are in this space and what they may or may not carry. And if someone came up, they were having issues with their CR10S Max filament sensor. We don't carry that particular sensor. And we don't have firmware support for that in there. So while we could technically make our sensor work with it, we don't have firmware. So instead of, trying to, lead them on and stuff and waste their time, we go, hey, you should go head over to Tiny Machines. They're a Creality reseller. I'm willing to bet even if they don't have it on their site, I'm willing to bet if you send them a message, they probably have one laying around they can sell you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that. And we referred people to like Printed Solid's another good company. We buy enclosures from them. If I need higher end parts, I get them from them. They sell like E3D and Bondtech stuff. So like if I do custom builds, I'll get parts from them. But the thing is, like I have, our guys that you can actually talk to, and they'll try to get you based on their advice is only going to be as good as the information you provide them. But we're pretty good at getting people a solution, and I can't tell you how many times we've had people where they'll like buy a part thinking it'll fix it, and then that's not the issue. And then we end up finding other issues on their machine that they wouldn't have caught. So we kind of have like, a little consultancy going on, Well,
that's good because it's needed out there. Like a lot of us try and do help out with the, on the forums and so on, but it's not always, you can only help as much as the person provides good information. And a lot of times people do not provide good information, or
most of the time
really bad video recordings of something that's so shaky you can't even see what's going on the screen. But we try, as members of the community, we do our best out there, right?
Yeah.
But it's good to have someone to say, no, stop what you're doing. We're going to do step A, we're going to do step B. And you offer that, like as a company, you offer that service.
Yeah. And I used to spend a lot of times in the groups, and honestly, and this is just my opinion, a lot of the groups have kind of devolved into, there's a bunch of people that think they know what they're talking about. And I can't tell you times I, see an issue and I've seen it a million times, post a solution, and I get some other guy that comes on, well, actually you're wrong. This is what you need to do, and then some random person is arguing. And I actually don't participate too much in like the Facebook groups. I'm not on Reddit anymore because I was tired of it. So I'd rather people just come to us and we focus on the people coming directly to us instead of, trying to help out. It sucks because, I helped out a lot of people in those groups, but the toxic people are kind of ruining it.
And you have to stay focused anyway, because it's your business, right? So
right. That's how I'd rather focus on our customers and the people coming to us. And, we have our own YouTube channel. And like I'd say most of our content is not even on our own products. Most of our content is just putting information out there, taking a look at printers, and a lot of people don't realize most of the printers we do reviews on, we bought and paid full price for. We don't get many machines for free anymore. And I know there's actually there's one of your list of questions here, and I think one of them was, have you ever had a manufacturer take issue with your assessments? Yes, I have many manufacturers that will not send us printers anymore because we were brutally honest with them and they didn't want to take our advice.
I've had that. I've upset one or two.
Yeah, I'm in a position where I don't have to. And I'm not gonna say that a lot of the 3D printing YouTube guys are just lying to make affiliate sales, but it feels like that sometimes. It feels like there's machines that were hyped up, and then they're selling a shit ton of them through their affiliate links, and those guys make a lot of money off those affiliate links. You're talking thousands of dollars a month.
Yeah, well, I've made nothing.
I mean, I have no problem with affiliate stuff. We have affiliate links. We do an affiliate program with people too for TH3D.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because we're in the position, because we don't get our revenue from affiliate links, I don't care if a company blacklists us because we didn't, we were honest with them. There's some stuff going on with this Homer's printer that didn't even have the right stuff, and there's some sketchy stuff going on, and I'm probably never going to get another printer from them for free, but I don't care. I'd rather have the truth be out there and warn people than try to make a couple bucks, getting people to click my link.
It comes down to integrity, right? We need to, as someone who does reviews, who's talking to the community about products or whatever, even doing beta testing and giving feedback to the manufacturer, you have to maintain a level of integrity, and you cannot tweak your responses on something based on the manufacturer asking you to do so. It's either right or it's not. It's as simple as that. If you bend and give into it, then the outcome of it is you're not a reliable source anymore, right?
Or you get people that the way they spin it, they gloss over these glaring issues with the product that to your average person that doesn't know what they're doing or isn't privy to this stuff, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Where there's some print reviews, I'm watching them going, this thing's a piece of crap. But at the end of the review, they're like, yeah, it's pretty good. If you want to buy one, hit my affiliate link down in the description.
Yeah.
And it's like, I almost feel like, I feel like, and they're not liable for anything. They're just collecting that commission check.
Yeah.
It's, and I'm not singling anybody out. But I see it a lot, and it's just like there's machines that I've got that everybody raved about, and then I find out, because a lot of people report issues to us because one of the things we're really good at is fixing these Chinese printers. We come up with products, we come up with solutions, tutorials. We're very good at that. I mean, that's the whole reason. Like, that's one of the main reasons this company exists is we fix things with these cheap printers because people get them and then they're stuck with them.
Yeah.
And what I want to make sure people know is that these are good. The money you get for the money you pay for most of the machines, you get a good value, but you have to know going into it that, hey, like this printer for $200 is a good deal for $200. However, it sucks out of the box, but for another like $20 to $30, you can make it not suck. But one of the things to make it not suck is you have to have another printer to print the parts because it's so bad at printing stock. You can't easily print the parts to make it print well. That's the kind of stuff people need to be aware of.
And I think that ties back as well. I think like there's some, like I do some of it, and there's a couple of other guys that I know that do it, that offer and work with some of the manufacturers to beta test some products, right? And the one that's just on your desk, I've not done. Full disclosure, I've never looked at that machine, but we've done beta testing and we put it through the ringer. Like we beat the machine up a fair bit, right? And we say like this is not good. Like you can't have your power supply underneath your bed or your on or off switch underneath your bed. How are you going to turn it off if there's a problem?
Oh, that's minor stuff. I know,
but I'm just saying. I'm just giving one example, right?
Yeah.
There's stuff like this that are safety issues on top of not only functionality but safety issues as well that need to be addressed. So, and because of that, I think more and more companies need to work with people who are knowledgeable in the industry, get them to beta test, find flaws with their machines, fix them before they produce them. That way, then you're producing a better quality product, and you have less issues in the field.
Yeah,
and you have less machines being returned.
So as far as I know, like the one company, literally the one company that actually took feedback, or sorry, I'll take that back. Two companies. Solval was actually one. When we got our SVO1, we bought that. I also bought this. Like we paid for this. The only printer we got for free recently was this one from Homer's, which is just TiVo with some lipstick on it. I can't remember. I think ANET before that. ANET sent us a lot of stuff. And the thing is, ANET actually listened. I take that back. I was gonna be, it was just Solval. And the one thing with the SVO1 was they didn't put a PTFE tube in the extruder guide, and they did it. They fixed it. As far as I know, they fixed it on later.
Yeah, no, they do. They ship the PTFE tubing in and out.
Yeah,
I have an SVO1, so
yeah, so I have two of them.
Yeah.
And then Anycubic, they sent us that Mega Zero, which is also in here. I gave them the feedback, and they took our feedback and implemented it. And that machine wasn't bad out of the box, but they actually gave us a spreadsheet to fill out of what we thought about, like the cosmetics, the electrical, the mechanical, that kind of stuff, and what we felt needed to be fixed.
That's how it should be done.
And then like ANET, one thing with ANET was, there's some minor concerns about connector selection, but the main thing was the firmware was terrible on them. And lo and behold, a couple months later, they released Marlin firmware for the ANET to get rid of their crappy firmware. But then you got companies like Two Trees, and I'm going to throw them under the bus real hard right here, right now, where we got the printer. It was a dumpster fire. That printer, if you go look at that stream, I literally disassembled it down to the frame, kept the electronic parts that I felt were worth keeping, and threw it out on stream. It was that bad. They got pissed off. They were like, how dare you? You got to take this down. I was like, no, I'm not taking it down because your thing was crap. Your customers are telling us that they had the same experience with it and you did nothing. So they made it seem like they were going to do stuff correctly, led me on, were very communicative. And then once the negative videos were down, they ghosted us. So don't buy a Two Trees printer. If you care about actually having a company that will get back to you and puts out decent products, Two Trees is not it. Don't buy anything from Two Trees. And that's my opinion. But I know that I'm not the only person that's had this experience with some of them where, they'll be willing to work with you up until they get what they want, which is the negative video pulled down. And then my response was, here's a better thought out video explaining all of the issues with the company and the machine. And that's still up on the channel to this day.
First of all, I'd like to give a thumbs up to Dan for inviting all of his hangout guys into the stream. Thank you. Thanks, Dan.
I sent it out to all of our stuff too. YouTube, MeWe, Twitter, Facebook, like 5 different Facebook groups. So I pushed it out too on our stuff. So hopefully get some subscribers.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't forget, guys, those thumbs up actually help our ratings, okay?
Yeah, they do. I hate asking for that, but YouTube is dumb.
Yeah, you have to.
Just hit it. Yeah. Just hit it. It helps their overload.
Come on, there's 37 you guys out there. Some of you have to hit the thumbs up. Come on. I've got 2. I need more than that. Hit that button. Come on. So, a lot of people
anyway, sorry.
Your wife actually runs the operational side of your business.
Yeah, she's actually listed on the website. She's first on the About Us page because she's actually the majority owner. My wife is a Hispanic woman, so TH3D is owned by a Hispanic woman. And she handles all of the stuff that she's good at, which is, legal, audit, financing, the accounting side of things. She has a background in financial audit. And actually worked for a large company called Exelon before she worked for us. And she's finally, she was working a lot. She actually helped out with customer side of stuff, but now she's finally just more on the administrative stuff. So she's trying to find her own thing to do. But she does all that stuff on the back end. It's a huge help because it allows me and the other team to focus on the technical side of stuff, stuff that we're good at. Like I could do the stuff she does, but it would take me a lot longer and I'd probably screw stuff up and we'd end up getting audited.
Question for you. Now I've seen, I've watched some of your roasting streams and they're fun. Where did that come from? If any of you haven't seen these roast streams, it's basically people posting images of their bomb sites of printers, to put it politely in some cases. Some are not so bad, some are a disaster. Some of them look like a ball of spaghetti, and that is just their wiring, not filament.
There's been some rough ones.
Right? Where did that idea come out of? That's fun.
So the only thing I can think of, I've seen tech YouTubers do something like that with like PC builds. I can't remember where it was, but I know before I saw like some of the tech YouTubers doing it for PC builds, I know there was someone else doing something like that. And I thought it'd be fun. And it's funny because some people get really upset because they come into the stream and they don't realize that the actual intention of it is what you're saying. Yeah. And they think it's just me being a dick. So
to do a roast, you have to be a little bit, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the point. And it's fun. It's enjoyable. Everybody gets a good laugh. Yeah, DeWitt sent his in.
I saw that one last week. Yeah,
it's just something fun. It's casual.
Yeah.
I try not to take the channel too seriously. Some people like that, some people don't. But I can tell you right now what you see on the videos and these streams. I'm the same way in person. You're not. I'm not someone that puts on a persona. I feel like a lot of the guys, they have that persona, that super upbeat, like. YouTuber type persona. It is what it is. What you see is what you get.
Fun, though.
Yeah,
I've seen some stuff that you could barely recognize there was a printer in there, right? And some of them are bad. Some are, and they're being used, and that's the scary part because when you use something like that, you're asking for trouble.
Oh yeah, some of there was the first one. There was a guy that had legitimate, and then sometimes when the roasts I come up, I'm like, okay, in all seriousness though, you need to fix this. It goes from me, just giving them jabs and in here, and to hey, you need to fix this because this is actually a fire hazard. I got to put on my serious face there for a second on someone. It's like, in all seriousness, you do actually have to fix this because it's going to be a problem at some point. I'm just looking out for you.
Some people are making fun of you.
Oh, that's Tom. It's all good. Oh, who let the llama in? Someone forgot to close the gate.
I know, llamas everywhere.
Pops, you guys, I forget to shut the gate, and then he just wanders in. I don't know if he's looking for something to nibble on or something.
Yeah, he's a bit like a stray, he's wandering in everywhere.
Yeah. So,
how big is your print farm that you have today? I know you said you do printing services, right? How big is your print farm?
So ones that we have like actually connected and actively being used about 35 machines. Physically, machines we have here that we're always in the process of getting machines set up. But we have 60 machines total. So my goal is by the end of January to have everything connected. So I'd like to have it up to 60 machines because we physically have that many printers, but many of them are sitting on the floor behind. If you just look, you can pick them out. There's a bunch. There's some you can't even see, and there's some that are still in boxes. There's actually 3 printers in boxes, or 4 printers in boxes just in my office here. And I want to say there's another 15 sitting in my garage here that are waiting for me to do stuff with. But yeah, so if the number I'm going to say is 60, because we might have more. I've lost count at some point. Eventually, if you guys are near us, we're out of Hubbard, Indiana. Eventually, at the very top of our page, there's a little link that says local pickup items. Occasionally, I'll post our overstock of printers there, and we sell them for like 1/3 of the actual price, and they usually have upgrades on them. So we do not ship them. People ask us. The whole point is to get rid of them locally, so I don't have to box them up and ship them.
So I'll leave the questions for a while. There's a few questions about your farm, but I'll ask them in a second. Before we get in there, like if you could design your own perfect printer, what would it be? I know.
I have no idea, to be completely honest. I have no idea because my idea of perfect changes depending on the application.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Like, am I designing the perfect printer for, average daily use, or am I, do I want something that's going to be, big functional parts fast? I can tell you my must-haves for features on a printer is, I like having beds that are solid mounted. I love having bed leveling systems, filament sensors. I think those are like bare minimum features that just make their ease of use and just quality of life improvements on any machine.
Yeah.
But it's hard because like my idea of a perfect printer, somebody can turn around and be like, that's junk. That's garbage. I don't like that. But I mean, like, I think my overall, I think one of your questions was like, what's my favorite printer? I really like the Ender 3 Pro. Really, really love the Ender 3 Pro. I think it's a very good starting point. And, like I've got one kitted out with all our stuff. I think when I told it up, it was around $600 with all the upgrades, including the printer. So $600 all in. And it's one of my most reliable, consistent machines. We have a lot of Ender 3s. I think there's one here. There's another Ender 3 in a box there. And we have 16 out in the print farm. So we've got a lot of Ender 3s.
There's a good comment there. So you can't say what you would do, or you're perfect, but you can easily say what you hate.
Oh, I can definitely say what. Yeah, that could be hours. How long do you want this?
Yeah, we could be here.
Like,
so, since you're not sure about what you design, and yeah, I've been on your stream. I watch your streams lots of times and so on, but and you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier on. Now, but what you touched on was a rebrand. Do you have any possible future brand ideas of building your own, designing and building your own printer from scratch?
I mean, we've talked about it, but we haven't. There's the problem right now is that we're trying to find people that do basic things correctly with minimal supervision is very hard. So until I can get more people that I can rely on our team, my time's kind of maxed out. My bandwidth is, pushed to its limit at its point. Like I'm constantly having to be like, okay, we have to shelve this because this is more important, and then come back to it. There's a lot of stuff I'd like to do. And the reality is until I get more staff that I'm confident in, and I can trust them to be like, hey, I need this printer with these things done to it, make it happen, and know that they're going to do it right. I'm not even going to try that again. Cause we tried, building our own printer on using a base of the Artillery AL4 was the base we were going to use. And we bought 60 machines and had 2 guys, tried to train them for months, and they couldn't get basic stuff such as even polarity on stuff right. I don't know how, and it's just, it's put a damper on things, like, because I don't want to take that risk. We lost we lost close to $15,000 on that project.
Yeah. Jerry said common sense is hard to find. I like to say common sense is not that common.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is too, like, I have no problem training people and teaching them things, but the problem is that unless it actually interests them and they're not just someone that's coming here because it's a job, like, I need people that are passionate about it. And it's really hard to find people in our area that are passionate about it, and not even just passionate about, just interested in it. Like they like electronics, they like wiring, they like, they're interested in 3D printing. I need people that actually are genuinely interested in 3D printing because they're going to actually care about what they're doing. They're going to actually want to learn about what they're doing and retain that information versus someone that's just coming here to collect a paycheck. They're going to do their tasks, they're going to get in and out. And that's about it.
Yeah.
So like we're hiring right now. We're hiring a shop technician, level 2 shop technician position. And I've got like 30 resumes that came in and only 2 were even worth looking at.
Yeah. Well, that's, yeah. And if you go through your own advertising, you'll get that. And even if you go through agencies nowadays, they're just going to throw whatever at you and hope some of it sticks.
Well, and the thing is too, like I originally didn't want to just like, I'll just hire my friends or family or whatnot. But you know what? It's actually worked out better when we do have people that I already knew that wanted to come work for us.
Travis is offering to work for you. He's only 4 hours away, he said.
Like, it's like there are people looking for work, but they're not the people I want to have working for us.
Yeah. It's hard to get the right fit.
Yeah, it's easy to find somebody that's just going to come in, punch the clock, do a menial task, and maybe they'll get most of it right most of the time, or maybe they won't. It's kind of discouraging, to be honest, because I'm sitting here like wanting to do all this stuff, and it's like, man, we are not getting any good applicants. Like even when we advertise a higher pay rate, like we still get people that have no business applying.
Yeah.
And it's just like how the hell do we find these people? And like, I have a friend of mine that he works for us 2 days a week. He's trying to actually start up his own business. Otherwise he'd come work for us full time. So I understand, I'm not going to, be upset. I was like, I'm even encouraging, like, hey, if you need help with your website, let me know. If you need help with this, let me know. I've done it all, I've done all this stuff before, and I want to see him prosper and grow, but it's like, when I find people, it's like, they're either too far away to come work for us, or, they're trying their own thing. And, I can't, like I said, I'm all for people trying their own thing. Like there's, I like seeing other people succeed. And if I, like I said, if he needed help, my buddy who's working for us 2 times a week, he does all our print farm maintenance now, and this is a guy, now this is about finding the right people. This is a guy that never touched a 3D printer a month ago. Okay. Within 2 days, he was out there fixing and diagnosing issues on his own. 2 days.
Yeah. And they're hard to find, right?
And he's just resourceful. He has a little bit of electronics background. He knows how to solder. He has mechanical common sense. It's hard to find those people. It's kind of hard to like interview for. I almost want to sabotage a machine and then be like, here's a laptop with internet access. Here's a printer. Fix it.
Yeah.
know,
with your friend.
Just kind of throw them, just be like, here you go, sink or swim.
So, do you want to show a quick tour of your setup, of your workshop, and so on? Because we've already reached an hour, but I'm more than happy to keep going, right? Because people are
I got a little bit more time. I do have to be off by 8:30 because I have to start getting
work to do.
I have work to do. So
let's do a quick tour because we're going to do it on video. So if you share your screen, and we'll put it up, and we'll do a quick tour. I'll go full screen on it. And then after that, we have 1 or 2 giveaways to do, so we want to do those as well. So if you want to share of your cameras and so on.
I'm trying to find. Hang on, will this work?
While you're doing that, what somebody asked, somebody asked a question. I can't find it. Matt asked a question. Do you name your printers? But with 60 of them,
every single printer has a name.
Really?
Every single printer has a name, and the every single printer. That's hooked. Well, they all have names, but the ones that are hooked up, we actually have the Raspberry Pi because we use Octoprint for every single one. We have the Raspberry Pis, also their host names named for the printer names too.
So let me go to full screen so you can show people around.
So this is the inner workings of TH3D. So this is outside our shop here. This is actually the driveway. I'm like right over here where my cursor is. You can actually see the window here. This is my office right here. So this is how far it is to the shop. So this is on our property here. So the shop's really simple. It's 2 rooms. We have the actual shop side of things. You can see we got all our boxes. We literally just got a shipment of boxes. We got 2 pallets of boxes in today. So if you guys ever order Easy Flex sheets, these are the flat packs they come in, so they stay nice and protected. And these are expensive. These are like $3 a piece for these packing things. There's a lot there. So, but they keep the things safe. So well, you can see here, we've got all our inventory, all the bins. These all have SKUs and barcodes on them to keep track of everything. These top rows here and most of these right here, these are all printed parts. So they come out the print farm, they get processed, cleaned up, checked for defects, and then they go in here, and these all have SKUs on them too. If you look here, these are all the flex plates. There's actually 3 more rows of shelves here. I don't know if you can actually see that in any of these. I think it's kind of blocking it in this one. Yeah, it is, because these are post office bags, but the shelves go all the way down. It's all one continuous shelf. So this is our packing area. And sadly, one of the things we've had to do, because we have people quite frequently trying to, scam us out of stuff, saying they didn't get everything. We have everything recorded under HD cameras. And as you can see, YouTube's probably killing us. These are 5 megapixel cameras. So if anybody ever goes, hey, I didn't get this, we can literally pull it up. These are every single orders, all these orders, they get staged on one table, they move down to the next one. And then this is the final station here. And you can see this little orange line here. This is so our packing person knows that it has to be past this line, so it's on camera here. So we can actually verify what went into the package. And you can see this is where all our small stuff is. So these are all our nozzles, our heat breaks, that kind of stuff. They're all sort of all inventoried. You can see there's little notes here, to stop, make a reorder task. And then this is our shipping computer with our label printer. And we actually just got this. This is we moved on up from the stamps.com scale, and we actually but I think it's a Mettler Toledo. It's like what FedEx and UPS use it. It's like a commercial grade one. It's actually working out really well. So that's the shop side of things. And then we have the print farm. So the print farm is about 460 square feet. We're still, like I said, we've got a lot of printers, but they're not all hooked up. And the thing is, we're not even utilizing all the printers we have hooked up. We're just going to pack the print farm because next year we're going to be really scaling up the print on demand services. So we also have, you guys notice on our streams, we've mentioned that we have what we refer to as B stock plates. These are ones with cosmetic defects. So if you want some cheap flex plates, send an email to streams@th3dstudio.com with what size you're looking for, and we might have it. I just want to give that a shout out because Aaron was telling me, hey, you need to mention those more because we got a bunch of them. So that's what these are up here. This is like our work table here. We've got, a power strip here. This is actually a vacuum that's built into the table to clean things off. This is my little Ender 2s. I don't know if you guys remember Ender 2s. We got 4 of those here. These crank out parts most of the time. Right now, we've got about a month's supply of printed parts already ready to go. Over here is our Ender 3 stacks. So every single one of these Ender 3s are built out exactly the same. They all take the same G code. They have the same hardware. They're all identical. And these we use for our ABS. So this is what does, if you have an ABS part from us, they came off one of these machines. We got our little toolbox here. There's a TV for when, people are in here, they can throw a video up while they're working. And then the other view here is, this is Aaron's desk. He's our general manager. And then there's more machines here. So eventually all of these shelves on every single level will have 3 printers per shelf. And you can see here, there's actually some jobs running right now. So this is live.
Yeah.
And then I'm into home automation. So all the stuff is automated. So it's all tied into our home system. So like now that I'm done doing the tour, I can say, hey, Google, turn off print farm lights and turn off shop lights. And
it looks like those lights haven't been set up
yet. That's my Google answering you.
but there we go.
That's funny.
There we go. So now I can turn the lights off, and you see our cameras going into night mode.
Cool.
So, but yeah, so like I've done, and we have the security system that secures the shop is also something that I put together myself as well. So using my nerd skills for something useful, not just for.
Yeah, I use my nerd skills all the time as well here at home. So, okay, so we have you have to end in about soon. So you have a giveaway for us?
I do. I have an easy ABL kit for anybody that wants one.
Okay, well, everybody wants one, so everyone wins one.
Well, for anybody that wins. And you want it.
40 them with the
now, if for some reason you already have one and you don't need another one, you can also opt to receive a $60 gift card to our shop instead.
Oh, that's nice.
So
the question, Tim, you can ask the question, and the answer it goes to whoever types in the correct answer first.
Yes.
Chat, okay.
Yeah, because this is being streamed out. This is being streamed out to Facebook and YouTube. So
yeah.
The first person to answer this question correctly.
Now, and it's the first one that appears in my screen here.
Yeah, on our screen here. So I can see it too, so I can verify that Liam's not being biased here.
Yeah. You're the one to say it's correct. I'll keep out of the conversation.
So the question you guys have to answer is, what is my dog's name? Cue the Jeopardy music. Do 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 do. Let's see.
42. The answer to the life, the universe, and everything.
Up.
Oh,
Great Lakes. One. Great Lakes got it.
There's the correct answer.
There we go.
So, how does he need to reach out to you?
So, all you need to do is email streams, STREAMS, like streams, at TH3Dstudio.com.
And that's for US only, is it? Or is it?
Oh, no, we ship worldwide.
Okay, so you ship worldwide. Well, I don't ship worldwide. So for the next one that I'm going to give away myself, it's US based only.
So I do want to say, so what I need you to email is your phone number. I'll have your email because you're going to email us your phone number and your address, and then whether you want the EasyABL Pro kit or you want the $60 gift card. And then if you want the $60 gift card, I'll send you a code that will just take $60 off the next order. Or if you want the EasyABL Pro kit, we'll just send you out a kit, and that's it. Simple as that.
Okay, so I have a quick giveaway. My giveaway was going to be the Creality Wi-Fi box. Okay, brand new. I was going to say never opened, but I opened to make sure everything was in there. So it has been opened once or twice, but everything is in there. It's the Creality Wi-Fi box as a giveaway. So, and my question is related to tonight's conversation. A while ago, we were looking at Tim's print farm. How many total number of printers does Tim have in the print farm? First answer correct. So the total number of printers he mentioned that he has in his print farm.
Well, I said total printers I own are print farm printers. There's two numbers.
Yeah, but I mean the total number, not the total operating, is what I said.
Yeah.
Anybody? Matt. But you're in the UK, Matt. I said US only. I'm sorry. So I'm sorry, Matt. You're in the UK. I don't ship internationally. The first person to answer was Dan. So Dan, you have my contacts on Facebook. Ping me, and I will ship off a Crowley Wi-Fi box to you. So, thank you. That was fun. It's always good to have giveaways, right? Do you have any closing statements you want to make? Please buy us, of course. But anything else?
I don't know. Make sure you guys check out our YouTube channel. Our site has more than just we do more than just sell stuff on our site. We've got a lot of resources in general for 3D printing. We have a forum, and we also have what we call our help center, which has not just product information, but general troubleshooting information and guides. So make sure you guys check that out. In terms of communities we have set up, we have our forum, we have a Facebook group, we have a MeWe group, we have our Discord server, and I feel like I'm forgetting something. Discord, MeWe, Facebook, forum. Maybe that's it. Oh, and our YouTube channel, if that counts as a community. So, but we have they're all accessible from links. So at the very top, there's a communities thing that's got a drop down with all the links to that. So, and I highly recommend me personally. I've been trying to do less and less on Facebook because of all the weird stuff they're doing. But I've been spending a lot of time on MeWe. I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook anymore or Twitter, but you can catch me if you want to just casually hang out. I'm in our Discord server quite frequently. There's a random channel where me and a bunch of other people, I'll usually just go in there if I'm bored. I'll go in there, I'll pop my camera up, and I'll just be working on something, and you can pester me directly. So,
well, thank you for coming on. This is fun. We ran over time, but it was great stuff, great content. Everybody loved it. So, we got some good feedback. And if you haven't checked out his roast streams, his unboxings are great, and they're totally unbiased. And he's testing the printers is fantastic. It's great, right? But if you want a good giggle about the messes that are out there, go look at some of the roast streams that he has out there. And you do it once every couple of weeks.
We actually, so I wanted to do them sooner, but like it does require some planning, so we have to like send reminders out with the links so people can submit them before. There's 2 roast streams up there right now, but it is going to be a semi-regular thing. I'd like to do one every other month on kind of like a Friday evening thing. So, but like just leading up to that, I have to schedule social media posts to be like, hey, we're doing this. Here's how you submit your printer, that kind of stuff. But we do regular streams every week. At the minimum, we do 2 streams every week. At the bare minimum, these are guaranteed unless something major happens here. Called Ask Tim. So it's a 1-hour stream, so it's not a huge commitment. Where you can come in and ask any question. It doesn't have to be about our products. It can be about even competitors' products. We have a lot of people asking about different stuff, and I try to give you the best advice I can to narrow down the issue. And those are at 2 p.m. Central Time on Mondays and Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. I think I've live streamed every single day this week so far. So if I do Friday, that means I've streamed every single day this week. Because we did Monday, and then we did the homers on Tuesday, and then we did Ask Tim on Wednesday, and then today we talked about Thingiverse and their lewd ads that they're displaying.
Yeah, and
that's been funny because if you want to see what it is, because a lot of people are like, well, you probably looked at that on your computer. I was like, no, it's actually not. So go watch that video. It's only like 8 minutes long. And it's funny because a lot of people started chiming in. They're like, yeah, I've been getting them too. And I, don't do that stuff. I got a lot of PMs too from people like, yep, sending me screenshots. And I was like, yeah, there's something going on with their ad network.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on MeWe. And we try to communicate a lot of stuff. We try to be transparent with stuff. We've got, a status page like, most larger companies have in case there's any impacts. I've got a lot of integrations to like when we post something out, it goes out to everywhere so people know. So, and we do have a mailing list too. So if you go on our website, you'll usually get a pop-up that you can X out and that doesn't bother you anymore, but there's a pop-up to join our mailing list. We do deals on there, sale notifications, firmware update notifications, that kind of stuff. But we try to be engaged with everybody as much as we can.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you again. I've used up a bit more of the time than I planned. I was going to keep you on for an hour, but we're here for an hour and 20. But it was great stuff.
I enjoyed myself. I appreciate you having me on. It was fun.
Oh yeah, well, the whole goal is to get people to know the people behind the businesses, right? So this has been fun. I try and do one every Thursday. I let you go because I know you have to get back to work, and it's you need to get back to it fast. So I'll go jump. If you want to jump straight out and go away, you can. Or if you want to hang around, you can for a few minutes. And I'll come back.
Oh, that's
to you.
fine. I can just kind of sit here and listen. I've got. Let me see how many. I've got like 35 SKUs I have to reorder inventory for. So that's what my night's going to be, is sitting in here reordering inventory.
Well, that's a necessity, you know.
Yeah, and we're finally at a point where we're pretty good at keeping things in stock. Unless like someone does like a video or something and then they eat up all our stock in a week instead of a month. That's always fun.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I'll be back with you in a moment. So thank you all for joining. We had a really good turnout tonight. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something about Tim and the business. And make sure you check him out on Facebook and YouTube and everywhere else that he had that TH3D Studios stream. Again, remember, subscribe and like the page. I do have some affiliate links. I'm not going to push you to them. If you want to buy, click on the links. It does help the channel. I have a PayPal and I also have Buy Me a Coffee. So if you want to help to support the channel, it would be appreciated, but I'm not going to force it on your throat. It's not the way I work. So, and I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., I do a hangout. And next Thursday, I don't have confirmation yet for next Thursday who will be on, but I will have somebody on next Thursday. So please come back, and I'll see you again next week. Thank you, and have a good evening.